different funnels. So I'm going to break down each funnel so you guys might have questions. You can ask me questions like during each funnel here, just because there's going to be diagrams, so it's going to be easier for you to ask questions. So as I'm going through it, just put your hand up and we'll get you the mic as we go. So like I said, the funnel is fundamentally like what's going to work, okay? So if you're an ad-only agency, you're going to suffer with the pain that I suffered being an ad-only agency for a long time, because a lot of the time the funnel isn't optimized. So one of the best things like you can do as an agency is start saying no to clients that have bad funnels, because right now you probably take them on like I used to, and they sign for 2-3 months, they don't convert because the funnel's bad, and then they complain, right? So one thing is trying to actually set better expectations and don't take them on if the funnel's not there, or take them on but like have a referral to a guy that can do copy and funnels and like make them pay, and then say I have a guy like totally separate from our agency, but we'll start in 30 days, go hire him, tell him what you need to make your stuff convert and work with him. And really just understand if you're an agency or you have your own brand, there's no best funnel, okay? There's like best first options, and there's more obvious choices for different products and businesses, but there's never a best funnel, okay? And anyone that says, oh, you should do webinar, you should do low ticket, you should do this, it lacks context, right? So for your clients or your in-house, you've really got to understand what is the best funnel to suit you, and the only way to do that is experience, right? Like, I'm fortunate that we've probably generated $1 billion in the last few years combined for our clients, and I get to see how that $1 billion has been generated, and so I can see like, okay, well I know 25 of my past clients that sell supplements did this, and they all did really well. Okay, well that's a trend. We should try it this way, right? So you're just following data and you're using experience, and that's why if you have your own brands, or if you're an agency, try and hire someone, or even if you don't hire them full-time, pay for consulting. Even if it's like $1,000 an hour, pay them for 2 hours to map out your funnel with you, because if not, you're going to go guess, hire a copywriter, and copywriters most of the time, they don't get the big funnel strategy, okay? They might understand it, but do they know, have they ran $100 million in funnels and understand exactly what's going to work? Probably not, so there's a difference. And like it makes sense if you're about to spend 10 grand on a funnel and then run traffic for 3 months, have an agency you're paying 15 grand for, and then you run 50 grand in ad spend, that's like a 70 grand investment probably. So go pay 3 grand, hire like one of the world's smartest guys for $1,000 an hour for 3 hours to take you and your team through different funnel options, what's working, and like propose a plan, but then also propose a plan and then what to split test, because most of the time that plan A won't work, right? And then you've got a split test to optimize it. And like I said, yeah, you can have world-class copywriters. You can even have a world-class product. And you know, if you have a world-class copywriter and a world-class product, it's kind of hard to really go wrong. But still, even if you have a bad funnel, it's not going to be optimized, right? It's going to have a hard time scaling to 10, 20 grand a day. And just like anything, it can work, but it can work and make you 2 million a year, or it can work and make you 20 million a year. And there's always a big difference there, right? And again, most people, it works and they like stay kind of complacent with it versus seeing how much better they could make it. So next few slides, I'll go through different funnel flows, different options for different brands, okay? So webinar funnels, who here has run or has webinar funnels, just so I understand? Okay, so webinar funnel, I love webinar funnels, but again, they only suit certain price points and certain offers. I don't run webinar funnels for a $50 product because the maths just don't work for me to run a webinar funnel for such a low ticket. But the way webinar funnels basically work is you'll have your lead in, right? So that could be a video ad, an image ad on Facebook. It could be email, so maybe you're blasting affiliates and using JV. It could be a quiz funnel that you're running traffic from, or a blog. And then it basically goes to a webinar reg page, and I'll show you some of these later. And then they'll sign up, so they'll sign up to attend an hour's webinar that either starts in 10 minutes, or maybe there's different dates and it starts tomorrow or later today. They'll get an email confirmation. They'll normally go to a thank you page as well. So you have a thank you page and a kind of overview on what to expect in the webinar, how to prepare. They'll get email follow-up, maybe text follow-up as well. And then a countdown series. So if they don't start the webinar immediately, if they start it tomorrow, you'll have a couple of emails there. And then they go to the webinar page, the actual webinar. So most webinars are like anywhere from 45 minutes up to 90 minutes. Some can go up to 2 hours. And the cool thing about a webinar is if someone watches an hour of your content, that's more than 99% of customers consume for most brands in like a whole year, right? So if you can get someone watching an hour, that's why webinars are perfect for higher ticket, right? So we sell from webinar, like we'll send people to book a call, and we'll sell up to $50,000 packages from that call. And then you could sell $2,000 programs, $5,000 programs, really anywhere from 1,000 to 50K, right? Maybe even up to 100K. Anything less than 1,000, I don't tend to run it much because just the maths for me, it's very hard to convert those stats in most industries. But it works great for high ticket. So who here has a product that a webinar could work well for? Okay, and keep your hand up if you're running a webinar for it. Okay, so only 1 of 8 or so. So for you guys, webinar could be great, and I'll go through some examples later. and basically the different diagrams, the end part's all like the same, right? It's just different lead-ins. And that's the cool thing once you have any of these funnels live. So if you build a webinar funnel, you can run Facebook traffic, you can pay affiliates to blast and register there, you can run Google Ads as well, you can attach it to advertorials, you can do a lot of cool stuff with a webinar funnel because the cost is so high. If you're selling a $5,000 or $20,000 program, you've got a lot of budget to like run advertorials, pay affiliates, run them through quizzes, run them through opt-ins, run them through videos before going to the webinar. So the opposite now is low ticket. So who here has low ticket offers, just so I know? So about half the room. So, you know, this is where I started. This is where I did millions with fitness info products. I was selling a $19 ebook. And before I knew what I knew now, I didn't even have upsells. I made like 3 million without upsells. I'm like, oh, I left freaking 3 million on the table then. You know, so you don't know what you don't know, but low ticket's great. The only thing I found like now versus 3-4 years ago is Facebook ads and the CPAs are just way more competitive, right? So now we still run low ticket, but we really have to dial in the upsells, the back end, have higher ticket, and make the client understand that like, yeah, you're probably not going to make 4 million a year net from this low ticket offer. You might do 4 million a year, but you're going to make most of the net from the ascension after. And again, very simple. So you can bring people in from a Facebook ad. You can have them, you know, if they abandon cart on the checkout page, you can send them to a modified sales page. You can send them emails or abandoned cart emails back to a modified page. But the back end's all the same, right? Whether it's a long page or a shorter page, they go to a checkout. Checkout wants to have an order bump on it probably. And then you're going to take them through 1 to 4 different upsells. So with the upsells, again, the goal is to double the front-end AOV for us as an agency at least. So if we sell $50, we're trying to get another $50 from the AOV from the upsells, okay? So any questions on, I guess, webinar or low ticket?
When you say...
Let's just get the mic.
You've got in that second funnel, for the low ticket offers, you had the upsells. Are those separate after the checkout page?
Yeah.
Are those additional pages post checkout, or are those?
Yeah, always post checkout.
Okay.
So you'd like say you buy a $20 plan, you go to the checkout, put in your credit card, and then you have 2 or 3 or 4 separate pages that come after.
And they're going to be separate pages, not a little box.
Separate.
Where, you
yeah.
go through.
Yeah, I'll show you some examples later too.
Thank you.
Question at the back.
Your low ticket, was that primarily cold traffic?
For me, 100% cold traffic, yeah. I mean, obviously, over time,
Yeah.
I had 100,000 buyers, so I was running some middle and bottom of funnel, but for me it was all low tick, cold, yeah. Question here? Question?
Do you still recommend when you're running traffic to webinars to do the webinar jam where they get to where it looks like it's live even though it's not? Has the client, like, is it just because we're in the space that we've kind of smartened up to that, or is that still working?
We still do that for some clients, yeah.
Okay.
I would say for some it's really important still if it's like done really smooth. For some, if it's not done smooth, it could even hurt conversions.
Okay.
You'd have to split test it for like your business and just see. And if you can pull it off well, I see why it still works. But if you can't pull it off well, then you might leave it out.
It'd probably be better just to say that it is a replay.
Yeah.
Just to be upfront of it.
Yeah, but just test it, right? Because it depends on your audience. Like you said, if your audience is like marketers that get it, then it might even hurt conversions. Whereas if they're not, it could be like a wow factor and boost conversions.
Thanks.
Any other questions on low or webinar? Cool. So, yeah, and here's just more low ticket, but different ways to bridge them in, right? So the previous slide, they were going straight add to sales page. In this slide, they're going add to advertorial or to an opt-in, okay? And the reason you might do that is, well, advertorial can warm them up better, and it also can help with compliance if the offer isn't compliant. Opt-in is you're capturing their name, email, right? You're giving them a free book, and then they go to a tripwire. And we have clients now running this model where this still converts, but they're getting 1,000 emails a day on the front end or 500 emails a day on the front end. So obviously over a year, those emails could add another, whatever, right? A couple of 100,000, 1 million, depends how good those emails are and how they monetize them. Any questions on advertorial or opt-in? Cool. And then again, another lead in here. So you might, if the low ticket's high enough, so $20, it probably isn't going to work. But if the low ticket's like $100, $150, $200, you can do add to like a 3-stage video. So you run them to a content video, retarget them with like a testimonial video, retarget those people with a sales video, okay? And I'll show you, I have a slide later on how we do that. And then they can go to a checkout page. Again, you can do a quiz. So we do some quiz offers that do really well. Like I'm friends with the VShred guys. They have a $100 million a year business built from quizzes. Kinobody, I'm friends with Greg too and those guys, and they do crazy money with a quiz funnel. So quizzes can work great. They're just harder to set up. So a quiz, you can't just like throw it up and expect it to stick. You got to split test the quiz and really find a unique hook. So we have one right now, for example. It's like a quiz that goes to a sleep aid product and a sleep program, and the quiz is find out what your sleep animal is. And then it's like 4 different animals, and depending on their questions, they get given a sleep animal, like a bear, a wolf, an owl. And the engagement on that is insane. There's hundreds of shares, hundreds of likes, thousands of comments. Like the owner of this offer, he's one of the biggest guys on ClickBank. He's done tens of millions, and he's done quizzes. His team and different agencies have done quizzes for like 6 years, and he said he's never seen a quiz like it from an engagement standpoint, right? And that's really big on Facebook. So we're getting people through that quiz for like 50 cents, like through the quiz, US traffic, which is crazy. And the good thing is Facebook loves that quiz because it sees all the engagement and comments, right? And if it has 1,000 shares, think how many extra people have come from revenue through that quiz just from the shares. Any questions on the videos or the quiz side? Couple here.
So we've run some quizzes before, and we get super cheap traffic, like you're saying, and super cheap leads. We have a lot more trouble converting those leads. They tend to be, just lower quality. But
Sure.
Would you believe that even with lower quality leads, like having that running traffic to an ad that's engaging like that helps the account?
Yeah, I think so. It helps the account, and again, it's like anything, right? Sometimes it will convert, sometimes it won't, and yeah, if the quality like quality on Facebook traffic's always a trade-off. You can sometimes pay a quarter of the amount, but if it converts a quarter of the percent, it's the same, right? Whereas sometimes you can pay a quarter of the amount, but it still converts like close, so then it's actually better because you're getting all those emails and total maths make better sense. So I would say, I mean, we obviously wouldn't run them and scale them if they're not profitable, but if you're close to profitable and then the leads over 30 or 60 days take you in profit, then why not?
Yeah.
Another question behind.
So the sleep quiz, what's the guy selling on something like that?
It's like a sleep info product and supplement on the back end. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Cool. So high ticket. So who here has high ticket offers? So half the room. So high ticket, the only difference, right, is basically the more anything costs, the more indoctrination the person needs. And that's the easiest way to look at offers on Facebook. So if it's $50, $500, $5,000, or $50,000, they just need different indoctrination sequences and more indoctrination to get to those different ascension models. So for high ticket, what we love is a webinar, because again, they're spending an hour with you, and then we'll send them to a sales page, and then it will be still a long page, and then it will go to an application, and then it will be a thank you page with a video. So you see all the indoctrination there. There's a webinar, then they go to a sales page that's long, then they do an app, and then they watch another video, and then they get a phone call, and then they get follow-up. So that's like a lot of stages, right? But that can sell 5, 10, 20, 30, 40K. Like the biggest program we sell is $150,000. And that takes a lot of follow-up and indoctrination. So another way is running an ad to opt-in. So they might opt in for, a free guide, right? Free report. And the reason we're really doing that is, again, we understand how long we need to indoctrinate them. So capturing their email gives us that chance to do that over 6 months. And then they go to a sales page with a VSL. So it's like a hybrid page. You have a top VSL, which is like 10, 20 minutes. It's not super aggressive VSL like for an affiliate offer or ClickBank, but it's a 10, 20-minute VSL filmed by the person or custom made, and then it goes into like a sales page. So it's like a hybrid page, right? VSL at the top, sales page. So it's kind of functioning like a webinar, right? They're still spending 10, 20 minutes watching from us. And then it goes into application and thank you page and cool. And then, you want to retarget people. So you're pixeling people that opt in, people that visit the sales page, watch a certain amount of the webinar, for example. Retarget those with ads, with emails, send them to a modified sales page, so a little smaller, with a video, and then put them back through the application funnel, right? So a lot of people don't do that. They run all these sort of offers. They're running webinars, they're running application, but they're not doing this part, which is like where you can get super cheap leads, and it's a lot of low-hanging fruit, right? Retargeting people that didn't get through the funnel, but they're still interested in that offer, right? Because, again, remember, the more ascension, the more time someone has to commit, and you know how everyone is with time, right? So sometimes they're still interested in the offer, but because they're so busy, they don't get through the webinar or the video, so you want to retarget them. And then, again, you can do ads straight to VSL. We have that work where it's an ad, it's a landing page with just the video. They watch 10, 20 minutes, and then the button pops up where they go to an application and book a call. So, if you're an agency, you've got to play to your client's strengths as well. If they're great on video, do a video. If they're terrible on video, don't try and do a video, Or if you do a video, do it more like B-roll based with slideshow text, okay, if you really want a video. Any questions on the high ticket side? Cool. All right, so activity. So we'll break for 10 minutes, and then we'll have, we'll have a little break after, but I want you guys to kind of just think now or draw it out on pen, paper, or if you've got your laptop. Like, think about your offer, and I can come around. We'll have a 10, 20-minute break. So if you haven't got your funnel mapped out, I get some of you guys are super advanced, so you can just break if you want or ask questions. But if you don't have a funnel mapped out or you need help mapping any of these out, maybe you want to change your funnel or try a new one, we'll break for 10, 20 minutes and we'll go through this. and we'll kind of draw it out, and I can come around and kind of help you and give input, or I can answer questions, okay? So we'll probably meet back in like 20 minutes, so it's 10:30 now. So we'll have a break, and you can start drawing this out if you want to, and I'll just float around and help.